People often describe their foray into trading as like stepping off the edge of an avalanche. They're trained, they know what to do, and they're ready to go. Then everything's fine, they've got the knowledge. But then they start trading and actually for the first time really start putting capital at risk. And everything blows apart. Boom, they fall off that avalanche. And so what they do is what you'd expect. They try harder and harder and harder. They learn more. They find a new strategy. And yet when it comes down to it, it keeps repeating itself. Whether or not it's fear of entry, where you just keep looking for more confirmation, whether or not it's sitting there and the trade goes against you and you kind of panic, or whether or not you take a loss and then you really want to get revenge and want to get the money back, what they find is they know they should be thinking in probabilities. But what they do, though, is they find themselves emotionally out of control. Why does that happen? The truth is you're asking a very ancient emotional brain that was designed for 6.5 million years ago to move from that to being able to go, well, I'm going to work in probabilities now. I'm not going to do survival of the moment right now. I am going to do probability work. And in doing that, they don't understand that they have to bring the emotional brain back into the 21st century from long, long ago. You have to train it. You have to train that brain to move from survival instinct to probability mind. They're not prepared for that. They weren't taught that. And in doing that, they mess up big time. They blow up accounts, they bleed. And yet, when you begin to understand that this is really, really, really about taking a brain designed for one thing and teaching it to do something completely different. That is what is not taught. That is not something that you can get more strategy about. That's not something that you can just read in a textbook. That's something where you actually have to build the internal circuitry differently than what's given to you by history. How do you do that? First of all, before you even think about how do you do that, recognize there's a problem that's not going to go away. You're not going to have 25 days or 25 trades where you're going to do all this stuff and suddenly, miraculously, your brain's going to be retrained. No, that's not going to happen, friends. What's going to happen is the limbic brain says, oh my God, here he goes again. And it puts on an alert. It triggers the fight-flight response, and thinking brain is hijacked. That's the fear of entry. That's freaking out when it goes against you. That's revenge trading. That's impulsive trading. That's taking a loss and all that stuff. That's what's happening. That's the emotional brain. Hijacking thinking brain. So you have a choice here. You can say the same, and you can hope for something different. Or you can begin to retrain that brain by understanding what emotions are, how emotions, brain, mind work together to build the mind that you bring into the moment of performance. Because ultimately, this is a problem about literally, you are going to meet uncertainty, which your brain is so designed against. It is going to produce vulnerability. And that, my friends, is where you begin to freak out. The brain loathes vulnerability, and it's hardwired to go to fight-flight. Yet, you can train that brain so that when you experience uncertainty, that's the risk, that's being a trader, and then you begin to go, okay, I experience it, I do produce vulnerability. But you can train the brain to produce a mind that's rooted in emotional discipline and impartiality as it meets that uncertainty, rather than the brain that you got from evolution that's designed to go to fight-flight. Friends, ultimately, that's what has to happen. How do you do it? My invitation is look at our programming, because it's pretty simple. It goes from emotional regulation to mindfulness to recognizing all these programs have really conspired against your success in trading, and how you go about changing those programs. Come and learn, friends. It's not really a choice. If you're going to produce the mind that can produce success in trading, you're going to have to rebuild that brain. It's really simple. For you to ignore that, you just stay the same. The emotional brain's not going to change because you willpower it, but it can be retrained. Emotional regulation, mindfulness, the historical dialogue, being able to turn emotional programs on and off in the midst of stress. Yeah. Come learn. Come to the website. Take a good look at this work, because ultimately, if you want to produce success, this is what's going to be required. Meanwhile, good luck. Have a good one. Take care.